so we are live once again. We tried this before, but we're going to give it a second
Technical
shot.
difficulties.
Yeah. So, if you were listening before to me basically rambling for about 15 minutes, disregard that, and we're going to try again here at the beautiful downtown Topeka Pinnacle Studios. We are live, so again, if you do listen to this and you have some questions while we are live at 11:21 a.m., shoot us a message on Facebook, or if you're on the Spreaker app, go ahead and shoot us a message on the chat part. So anyways, let's just go ahead and get right into it.
Yeah, we might as well.
Might as well. So we're talking today about cardio versus diet.
Okay, well, this is a common topic. You know, people come in to the gym. They're always asking, they're trying to lose body fat, trying to lose weight, and normally they're just on a treadmill and they're just trying to do it through cardio alone. Not always, but a lot of cases. And, you see people on these treadmills and these ellipticals and these bikes for, sometimes hours on end, week after week after week, and a lot of times not much changing is occurring. And so, I always believe that the best way to induce body fat reduction is through diet changes, not necessarily increased cardio.
Sure.
What are your thoughts?
Well, I think that there's something to be said for that saying that says, you cannot out-train a bad diet. It's cliche, right, but I think it's true. We want to think about when we are talking about this subject. I do want to think about it in terms of what they really are. I mean, diet is kind of a lifestyle, and cardio is more of a tool, right? Like a tool to utilize to aid with diet.
I'd say diet is more of a lifestyle. Cardio it's still a lifestyle. I mean, if you're doing anything consistently,
sure,
I think,
sure.
But it's got to be consistent. But the thing with the diet is that's, you might be doing cardio once a day or once every other day for 20 minutes or an hour. Diet usually has to be something that you're focused on indefinitely.
Right.
It's, you're eating 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day.
Sure.
You have to be a little more maybe planned out.
Right.
As far as maybe making food ahead of time.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is that that's if there are branches or pillars, and then a branch coming off of like each pillar, I think diet's got to be ranked pretty high. I mean, you figure diet, weight training, recuperation are maybe like your big three, right? Mm-hmm. And I think everything kind of branches off of them. So I think that's one of your founding fathers, if you will.
Yeah.
I'd
agree with that. Yeah, it's number one when it comes to health. I mean, that's the main reason people should be going into a gym anyway. I mean, in my opinion, it should be improved health. But anytime you're talking about health, anytime you're talking about just looking better, feeling better, self-confidence, changing your body, diet is always going to be number one. It's ahead of training.
Sure.
For that matter, lifting weights. It's ahead of cardio. It's ahead of probably sleeping. It's ahead of everything because, like you said, you can't out-train a bad diet. You can't out-think one.
Yeah.
Really, if getting your diet in order is really will solve most issues with health and physical performance,
right,
and appearance.
So let me ask you this question then. What happens if I do try to out-train a bad diet?
Well, I mean, it's still better than not training at all, of course.
Sure.
You're still going to get health benefits from the training itself, whether it's cardio or weight training. You're still going to. It's better than nothing.
Sure.
It's a lot better than nothing. But again, you can only go so far,
right,
I guess.
Right. Well, and the amount of output you'd probably have to, because I hear this all the time. Well, I'm going to have to do an extra couple miles on the treadmill because I ate that. I looked at the shrimp scampi or something, and so the thing for me is that out-training a bad diet is, or trying to at least is like you're spinning your wheels. You're doing more than maybe you need to.
It's kind of like seeing the person smoking out in the parking lot before they come in to work out.
Sure.
It's still better that they're working out than not, but it might be a little bit of canceling each other out, so to speak. I think what might be, there are some examples I can give of kind of verifying this opinion. I mean, I guess it is an opinion. I don't know if it's necessarily a scientific fact, but I think it's a pretty well agreed upon opinion that diet is more important than
Sure.
about anything really,
Right.
as far as getting in better shape and health. But I tell people that I'm helping with personal training or trying to transform their body or improve their health. I say, I know of competitors who are physique competitors, bodybuilders, bikini competitors, any kind of physique kind of body transformation competition. I know specifically people that I've worked with that their training and their cardio can be the exact same one part of the year
Sure.
and completely the same during a competition phase, but they look completely different. So what I'm saying is, maybe I'm not saying this right, but what I'm getting at is, I know people that I've worked with where we do really nothing changes from their off season when they're at a higher body fat level and a competition type look later in the year or maybe months later, other than dietary changes.
Sure.
There
Right.
is really no increase or decrease in cardio in many cases.
Sure.
There's no change in their weight training regimen, or very, very little. The only variable we change is diet related,
Right.
but their composition is completely different, as in lower body fat primarily. That's the only change.
Right.
And so, I mean, it basically verifies what I'm saying. I've seen that in cases of people. It's like, here's the case study.
Right.
Here's the proof. You know what I
Well,
mean?
and even on yourself, because I mean, I know that and I know that I don't know if it's a false reality or if it's just some people's methods are different than others, but we've been bodybuilding fans for many, many, many years, and at one point in time, it seems like everybody was doing 45 minutes of cardio twice a day to get in shape. And nowadays I see people that are more or less relying on their diet to get in shape and not so much cardio.
Right, and I kind of came across this conclusion, again, getting maybe myself ready for a contest or other clients that I've worked with. And I'm not a guru. It's not like I've trained thousands of people for these contests. I'm not going to claim that I'm the best at that by any stretch of the imagination. But, again, there is no, essentially, if you have to do more basically than an hour of cardio a day, getting ready for like a physique, bodybuilding show or a bikini contest or something, you're probably doing something wrong with the diet.
Right.
So again, we're coming back to this point of, well, is cardio really the be all end all? And it can be used to help, but if your diet's off, you're not going to get your body fat really coming down.
Right.
For a bodybuilding show, probably how you want to.
Sure. Well, and I think there's something that can be said also for what you're using it for. If let's say you're coming in and you're already higher body fat, overweight, and things like that, I think you can do more cardio than you could maybe if you were dieting for a show, because at this point and there is such a thing as cutting too many calories, because again, you're creating a caloric deficit with your food and a caloric deficit with your output. Mm-hmm. So there is such a thing as doing too much of losing too many calories, right? But
definitely, yeah.
But is there a
people
point?
aren't really not aware of it though when they get ready for these contests? And I mean, we could go into this in a lot of detail, but normally people are either too motivated or not motivated enough when it comes to losing body fat.
Sure.
And either approach will end in failure. Being more motivated, you'll get in better shape, but not the best shape you could.
Right.
Being overly motivated,
Right.
doing too much, suffering too much, too fast, too long, you won't end up as good as you could be if you were a little more balanced and methodical and just kind of take a lot of time to get in shape and these kind of things by slowly reducing food and slowly increasing cardio if you want to do that.
Right.
But not just going cold turkey and going from no cardio a day to 3 hours of cardio a day and eating whatever you want to, a 2,000 calorie diet with no sugar and just being super strict.
Sure. Well, and that could even have negative health effects too.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's negative health effects and it's not sustainable.
Sure. Yeah.
And the reason that we bring some of these competition aspects into the program is because your body is working the same whether you're trying to lose 10 pounds and it's your first time in the gym, or whether you're an advanced like competitor.
Yeah.
The process is the same. It's just we're taking somebody from point A clear to point Z with a competitor. Well, why can't we take them from point A to point C, which is a smaller distance to travel, but it's the same road.
Right.
So if we can get somebody all the way down to there, well, we can get the average person, a quarter of the way or a 16th of the way,
Right.
As compared to somebody like maybe we're getting ready for a show.
Sure.
That makes sense. Like it's the same process.
The
essentially.
physiology is the same. The goals are different. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah. It's
That's
all,
why you're here. Make big ideas and make them condense them so people can. So I know what the hell I'm talking about.
Well, and that's the thing is, any of these subjects that we talk about, you and I could go off on tangents and probably have a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week show because, well, maybe for a week or two, and then we'd run out of stuff to talk about. But point is that there's a lot going on, and cardio versus diet may seem like a simple subject, but there's so many factors that go into it.
We're giving you, at least I'm giving you my basic overarching
Sure.
concept now. There's going to be certain cases and certain individuals, and depending on where you're starting at, body fat wise, and it's always a case by case determination of what's the plan for this particular person.
Right.
It can't be a cookie cutter approach for everybody.
Sure.
Because everybody's different ages, different work patterns, and sleep patterns, and
Metabolism,
and all these things.
All the things.
You can only, there's some general arcing. The general arcing theme though is you're going to have to get your diet in order no matter who you are, versus doing more and more cardio.
Sure. Well, and I tell people often now, when I was 21, we might have even touched on this before, but when I was 21, I was a machine. I could stay up all night, work all day, do cardio first thing in the morning, fasted, train hard, eat every meal I needed to eat. But nowadays,
Still make progress.
and still make tons of progress. Absolutely. Nowadays, I'm 37, and these days, I can give you one or two of those solidly on a good day. I can work all day and give you a good workout, or I can maybe do cardio and a good workout on a day that I'm off. But it just seems like my body takes a long time to recover. The point I'm trying to make is that when you are trying to out-train a bad diet, especially if you are counting calories or counting calories that you're burning, I think that you can wear your body down quicker too. Mm-hmm. Make yourself more susceptible to injury, make yourself more susceptible to getting sick. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. You had mentioned a topic you were interested in venturing into today, and we can go into this topic of just explain what your thoughts are as far as these competitions and the people that we run into, and what exactly do you want to discuss? This is your question.
So no, I think that there's a lot of we can.
We're veering away from our original topic now, right? But this is like segment 2 of our show.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah.
All right.
I think that there are some things that more or less. I think this is going to give us an opportunity to explain to a lot of people what it is. That, and I think diet and cardio. Because we've mentioned competition already. The show plays a role in it, but when we're talking about competition, I think that there's a lot of people that don't fully grasp what it is, what goes into a competition in terms of the work and the effort and the training and the seriousness. And once they are in a competition, I don't know if a lot of people understand, what they're doing. Like what, I know that, when I tell people that I was like, I buzzed around the competition thing for a while, and I still would like to at some point in time again. And then one of the first questions I get, so you like powerlifting?